Hi, this is JP Morgan. This morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Sony announced the long-awaited a7S III, an incredible video camera. I've had a7Ss from the beginning. I shot a ton of commercials on two a7S Is, and then saw the great upgrade to the a7S II, and I've been waiting for the a7S III forever, and today it finally came. The a7S III is really head-to-head with the R5 and the Panasonic S1H. Those three cameras really move this entire genre of mirrorless cameras into production quality 10-bit 422 cameras, and that's what's so exciting about them. So let's look at the specs for the new a7S III. Number one, it's a 12 megapixel camera. That's what we expect from the a7S series. You want that because that low megapixel count gives you large, light-sensitive pixels that really bring in the light. They give you high dynamic range. They give you great ISO performance. That's what this camera is built on, and that's exactly what it's going to deliver. It's going to give you ISO from 80 to 102,800. That is its normal ISO, but its extended ISO is 40 to 409,800. So an incredible dynamic range. This is an incredible 4K camera with 10-bit 422, and that's what puts it in the category with those other two cameras, is because it's now a production quality. 10-bit 422 is really the production standard. This camera also has S-Log2 and 3. And S-Log3 is going to give you that incredible dynamic range, up to 15 stops of dynamic range. This camera has two card slots, but you can use either SD cards or CF Express Type A. Type A is a new card Sony has developed for this camera, and that Type A card goes into the same slot as the SD card. So you can either have one SD card and a CF Type A, or you can have two of each, any combination. This is one that I think is incredible, and that is that there is no recording limit. It makes it much more workable as a B camera, as a dock-style B camera, because you don't have that 30-minute limit, you know, where your clip's gonna stop every 30 minutes. For those of you who love external recorders, and I do, you're gonna get a 4264 by 2408 16-bit raw output up to 60 frames per second. That's incredible for using an Atmos recorder. Gives you the ability to give you that great output, 4K, up to 60 frames a second. It now has it so you can simultaneously display on the camera and on an external recorder at the same time, which is a great feature. So you'll be able to have that on the back of the camera. So if you plug it off to an external recorder that's away from the camera, you're not flying blind on the camera. The camera has 759 phase detect autofocus points, which would give you 92% coverage of the back of the camera. This has become a standard on your mirrorless cameras now, which is needed. It gives you the ability to focus in corners and to be able to work in a much easier, the autofocus just works so much more seamlessly. So it's a great coverage there. You got real-time eye autofocus and touch tracking. So it's got real-time autofocus for video, so as you move, it's going to keep and hold that focus on the eye, but it also has touch tracking. If you touch a subject matter, it's going to just follow that subject matter in the scene, even if it's a long ways away and comes forward. Can't wait to test that one. The EVF on this camera is incredible. It's 9.44 million dots. It's going to give you more resolution through that EVF than any other camera that's on the market out there right now. It's got a great 5-axis internal image stabilization that gives you a slight crop on 4K, but in doing so allows you to be able to stabilize the image and to give you that great smooth image. One of the things I'm most excited about is the new menu system. I got to see all the new menus. It's more similar to me in some ways to Nikon's menu, but not exactly. But it's much more simple. You have menus down the side, they expand out. It's just a much simpler menu system, and I'm excited about that. This next feature, I've been scratching my head for years wondering why cameras don't do this. And that is you have a separate setting for each of your motion picture and your still mode. So when you change from motion picture to still, you have your settings in those modes. You have the menus that only relate to that mode of shooting. And it just makes it so you don't have so many things you have to dig through, and just makes it much more easier to use. So on this camera, if you set yourself up for doing stills on set, have all your settings, you switch over and set up all your settings for doing motion picture, for doing video, now you can switch back and forth, and it just maintains those settings. That is really useful in this kind of hybrid camera, because I'm trying to shoot stills and video and jump back and forth, and it just makes it easy to be able to make that jump back and forth. Next, Sony has made the sound on this camera, so it's going to be able to grow with you. It's got 4 channels, 24-bit recording, sound recording, and that gives you the ability to add a 3rd or a 4th lob. So that's going to make this camera so it's going to be able to grow and a little more future-proof with regards to audio in the future. It's got a new processing engine that is 8 times faster than the first engine that was in this series. And it's going to give you faster autofocus, it's going to give you more rapid EVS displays, and it's going to write super fast to memory cards. So that is going to be a major improvement with this camera. Who's this camera for? You know, with that 10-bit 4K 422 internal recording, it just makes this camera so it is everything from prosumers, wedding photographers, up to on-set production video. It really is that. I don't see this camera as a still photographer's camera. I see this as an incredible videographer's camera. Everything from weddings to high-end on-set B-roll production. As a crossover camera, it doesn't cross over near as well as some of the other cameras out there. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the megapixel to give you a decent size image, to be able to give you a great blow-up print size image. So I don't see it as a crossover camera like that, but I see it as an incredible video camera. So we can't wait to get our hands on one here. Make sure you subscribe to us here at The Slanted Lens. We want to help you to understand all these new cameras as they're coming out and what camera is best for you. So keep those cameras rolling, keep on clicking. If you find this information interesting, we come out with a new video every Thursday and sometime Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe.